So we just finished up here at Toledo Bend. It's a great tournament for me. Had 4-day total, I think 96 plus pounds. And you know, I really had a lot of help this week from my electronics, without a doubt. You know, my hummingbirds were there, but the other thing that was real key for me that I've learned for this offshore fishing like I was doing is my Hydrowave. So I had two patterns going. I had the shad spawn going in the morning, and I also had a deep cranking bite going on in the afternoon. And the Hydrowave is critical anytime you got bass grouped up and you got a lot of bait around. So in the mornings, I had Feeding Frenzy running, and I was running it continuous. I was fishing up on these around docks and seawalls and up near the bank where the bass are actually pushing these shad up there. The shad spawn against the docks and seawalls, and you can get the bait fish activated that way. They get all nervous, and the bass get nervous, and they get going. The first morning, I had a limit in 10 minutes on one spot. I mean, it was just like almost every cast. I mean, I just had everything rolling, and that's the key with that Hydrowave, is you can really fire up the fish and keep them fired up for a long period of time. So I was running it continuous on the shad spawn with no delays or anything like that. And then about 8 o'clock or so, once that shad, you know, the sun got up and the shad spawn started to slow down a little bit, I'd switch to my offshore cranking bite. And for, without a doubt, my #1 pattern when I'm ledge fishing is the delayed schooling. So I like to run a 30-second delay, and I base the volume on the amount of wind. So when it was windier, I'd crank the volume up to about halfway. I don't like it too loud, but I'd crank it up to about halfway. And when it's slick, I just bump it 2 or 3 times. So right down near the bottom, have it quieter. I don't want to have the fish hear it half a mile away. It's got to be natural for the conditions. So I try to position my boat just off the ledge, and you could see the bait fish and the bass on the graph in a lot of those cases. And just having that Hydrowave running like that, I mean, again, the first day I got out after I caught a limit on a shad spawn. I went out to one hole, and I mean, I just smoked them. Caught them every cast, catching a 5-pounder every cast. I was calling 5-pounders, and that's what you want to do, and that's what a Hydrowave can do for you. Is the bass are sitting down there, and when they hear that sound of other bass feeding, they can't handle it, and that's what it does. And I like that quiet time, so I run the 30-second delay so there's nothing, and then if the fish are sitting there, the bait's in close proximity, and then all of a sudden they hear the sound of other bass feeding, the bait gets nervous, the bass get nervous, and it starts to go down. And that's what I've learned in ledge fishing really works for me.